Welcome to SS2 Literature in English. Today we study post-colonial literature, the body of writing produced in the wake of European colonialism, exploring the social, political, psychological, and cultural effects of that experience. Post-colonial literature is the dominant mode of African literature in English. Understanding its key themes gives you the analytical tools to write sophisticated WAEC essays and engage meaningfully with texts from across the former British Empire. Post-colonial literature refers to literature produced in countries that were formerly colonized, which explores the experience and legacy of colonial rule, the struggle for national and cultural independence, the psychological impact of colonialism on colonized peoples, the challenge of building identity and nationhood after independence, the relationship between colonizer and colonized. The term post-colonial does not simply mean after colonialism, the effects of colonialism continue long after former independence. Post-colonial literature grapples with these ongoing legacies. Key themes. 1. The colonial encounter. Literature explores how colonialism disrupted pre-existing societies. Chinua Achebe / Things Fall Apart dramatizes the destruction of Igbo culture by British colonialism. The colonized are shown as complex, full human beings, not the savages of colonial narratives. Conrad / Heart of Darkness is critiqued for dehumanizing Africans. Achebe wrote Things Fall Apart partly as a direct response. 2. Cultural identity and hybridity. Colonialism created people who are neither purely traditional nor purely Western. Hybridity, the cultural mix that results from colonial encounter, neither one nor the other. Example, an educated Nigerian who practices Christianity and African traditions simultaneously. Achebe, you cannot step into the same river twice, cultures change through contact, some synthesis is inevitable. 3. The question of language. Should Africans write in European languages, English, French, or in their own languages? Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Kenya famously abandoned English and wrote in Gikuyu, argues that writing in English perpetuates intellectual colonialism. Achebe, writing in English is necessary to reach a wide audience. One can use English to carry African experience. English is now partly an African language. In Nigeria, many writers use pidgin elements, Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa words within English text to authenticate African voices. 4. Political disillusionment. After independence, many African nations were disappointed by corrupt governments, military coups, and neo-colonial economic arrangements. The dream deferred, the hope of independence giving way to cynicism. Wole Soyinka / work strongly critiques Nigerian political corruption. Chinua Achebe / a man of the people, 1966, the week before the first Nigerian military coup, satirizes corrupt post-independence politics. A central post-colonial concern, the colonizer / gaze, how Africans were represented in European literature. As primitive, savage, childlike, without history. As background, not protagonist. As objects to be civilized or pitted, not fully human subjects. Post-colonial writers reclaim the narrative. Right from the African perspective, Things Fall Apart begins in the village, not with the colonial officer. Give full humanity to African characters. Show the complexity and richness of pre-colonial African culture. Challenge and subvert European literary stereotypes. Post-colonial literature frequently engages with traumatic history. The slave trade, millions enslaved and trafficked from Africa. The violence of colonial conquest. Post-independence conflicts, the Nigerian Civil War, 1967-70, appears in Chinua Achebe / Ant Hills of the Savannah, Chimamanda Adichie / Half of a Yellow Sun. Literature as memory. Post-colonial literature preserves the memory of those who suffered and were silenced. Gives voice to the colonized, the enslaved, the marginalized. Until the lion has his own storyteller, the hunter will always be the hero, African proverb often quoted in post-colonial theory. Post-colonial literature increasingly includes feminist perspectives. Women were doubly colonized, by colonialism and by patriarchal African societies. Bocchi Emakita, second-class citizen, The Joys of Motherhood, Nigerian Women /S Experience of Patriarchy, Migration to UK, double-bind. Flora Nwopa, Nigeria Efuru, first Nigerian woman novelist, challenges assumptions about womanhood. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Purple Hibiscus, Domestic Violence, Religion, Coming of Age, We Should All Be Feminist, Universal Feminist Manifesto. Post-colonial feminism examines how gender intersects with race, class, and colonialism. Summary of post-colonial literature, key themes. Post-colonial literature responds to and explores the legacy of colonialism. Major themes. 1. The colonial encounter, disruption of African societies. 2. Cultural identity and hybridity, neither purely traditional nor Western. 3. Language debate, right in English, or Chebi, or African languages, Ngugi. 4. Political disillusionment, corruption after independence. 5. Reclaiming the narrative, African perspective, full humanity. 6. Memory and trauma, slave trade, civil wars, colonial violence. 7. Gender, women doubly colonized, Emekita, Nwopa, Adichie. Key concepts, colonizer /S gaze, hybridity, language politics, the lion and the hunter.